Welcome to Irons United and doing a live review of the Bournemouth versus West Ham game today. Quite an entertaining game, ended up 2-2. West Ham, I think, were probably the better team and I think we should have won the game. It was just unfortunate. We got caught napping in the second half very early for their second goal, but I'll come to that in a minute. I'll go through the game itself briefly and give you a rundown of what we saw today. So we had the usual team that we kind of expected to start. There was Fabianski in goal, Fredericks, Diop, Ogbonna and Creswell were at the back, Noble and Rice in holding midfield, Yarmolenko, Anderson and Fornals started with Allaire up front. There was very good early possession for West Ham at the start of the game. We seemed to be very much in control of the game. Everything seemed to be flowing quite well. And on 8 minutes, we got our first goal. Anderson crossed the ball into the box. Allaire beautifully pulled it down with his leg. You know, it looked like it was going out, but the way he controlled the ball, brought it down, laying it onto Yarmolenko inside the box. But Yarmolenko had plenty to do because he was facing away from the goal. He had to turn the defender, get it onto his left foot, and scored a superb goal in curling it into the corner. So it was a fantastic start for West Ham. We seemed to be very much in control of the game. Then on 17 minutes, a corner led to a Josh King goal. Now there was quite a bit of a delay on this goal because VAR was looking at a potential offside by Aki, who actually, it came off Aki to go into King's line of shoot, and unfortunately for us, VAR said that the goal stood. So it was unfortunate, but on 17 minutes, Bournemouth came back into the game. But that didn't seem to stop us. Usually, a West Ham team in the past would our heads would go down, you know, or we kind of like back off and start getting a little bit uncertain about ourselves. But that didn't happen. We composed ourselves again. We started to play our game again, composed, and Yarmolenko and Anderson were switching wings, which almost caused immediate problems for Bournemouth again. Anderson laid the ball down the line to Fredericks, who whipped the ball in, which led to a corner. And from that, we had another chance at goal. And that was the sort of the nature of the first half. We kept composed. We kept going at Bournemouth. Bournemouth had their chances, of course, but we didn't look like we were ever going to be the underdogs, even though we were playing away from home. Now, unfortunately, on 31 minutes, Fabianski went down after the kicking the ball out, which is bad news for us. We don't know what the extent of the injury is. He looked quite uncomfortable. He had to be helped to get off the pitch, and of course, Roberto came on as his replacement. Now, I know what a lot of fans have been saying about Roberto pre-season and especially about Wednesday's drubbing against Oxford, where everyone seemed to blame Roberto for that defeat, or certainly people think Roberto had a hand in that defeat, and I don't think so. I was at the game at Oxford. We were just shit that day, and I don't think it was necessarily Roberto's fault. So, you know, this concern that if Roberto has to come on for Fabianski, I think because we've gotten so used to Fabianski being so brilliant, you know, the minute he's injured, we all start to panic. But you know, I don't have a problem with Roberto, and I'll tell you of the great save he made later on in the review. Anyway, on 46 minutes, we had another break just before half time, instigated again by Yarmolenko, getting again Fredericks into a position. He again whipped it into the area. Allaire laid it on to Fornals. And I think Allaire kind of hesitated. He should have laid it on a bit quicker, because by the time Fornals got it, it kind of the defenders were already on him, and Fornals' shot was easily blocked. But that led to a corner, and Ogbonna had a gilt-edged chance to put us back in the lead, and he missed the ball. He missed the cross by a whisker. I don't know if a call was actually put him off in any way, but it was the last chance of the first half, and it would have been a great moment to get us into the lead again. Anyway, we went into the interplay. I have to say, was really good up front. Not only were Yarmolenko and Anderson switching sides, but also you found that at some points Yarmolenko playing the striker position with Allaire just behind him. You know, and I think that was causing problems for Bournemouth throughout the first half. They weren't quite sure who to defend, who to go with. And I could see that the idea that Pellegrini had kept switching the players around, a lot of good movement around, and it was good to see. Anyway, second half, wow, really poor start. I mean, we were caught napping. We kicked off, and within 26 seconds on the clock, Bournemouth pressed and a dinking rung by Solanke got the ball to our nemesis, Callum Wilson, whose strike went straight into the bottom corner of the goal. There was no chance for Roberto to save that. It was a really well struck shot. You could argue we could have closed them down, but you know, we shouldn't have let Solanke do the dinky run. You know, it was frustrating. It was upsetting. It was just a really poor start from us. But from that point on, it seemed to be West Ham all the way. Again, we composed ourselves. We started to play our rhythm, play our game. I think this is the one good thing about West Ham, which I'm going to come onto in a minute, between, you know, how Bournemouth and how West Ham have advanced. We kind of started again. We played our game on 54 minutes. We kind of on 54 minutes there was an Ake shot which looked like it came off Solanke in an offside position, but was actually seemed to actually come off Fredericks. But VAR, but the ref, not VAR, spotted it, and the ref disallowed the goal. So we were lucky, but I think it kind of made up for the VAR decision of their first goal, which I've got to say it was the correct decision, but it was harsh to take. But as I was saying, we were composed. You know, Bournemouth had their chances, but we played our game. You know, we played our game. We played the passing game. Players were switching, overlapping, and I think we looked, despite the fact that we were losing, despite that fact, we played well. On 66 minutes, Lanzini came on for Fornals. Fornals had quite a few chances, quite a lot of shots, which were unfortunately blocked. And I think, you know, apart from the one I mentioned where Allaire passed the ball to him too late, I think with Fornals it's a matter of confidence. And I think once he gets another goal, Fornals, I think he's going to get better and better. It just seems a bit hesitant at the moment. But anyway, Lanzini came on for him on 62 minutes. On 72 minutes, and I said a moment ago that I was going to tell you about the great Roberto save. On 72 minutes, Bournemouth had an excellent chance to go 3-1 up. But Roberto produced a fantastic save right at the feet of Callum Wilson, again, who else, which kept us in the game. And it was quite a decisive moment, because we could have easily have gone 3-1 down, you know, and people that are slagging Roberto off, if he wasn't that decent a goalie, he could have easily have let that go. You know, I think if Wilson had dinked it over the oncoming Roberto, it might have gone in. But Roberto was brave. He came out from his goal line really fast. He smothered that ball. He got it away. And I think that was a great piece of goalkeeping. And we've got to give sometimes credit where credit's due. Anyway, but straight after that, the ever impressive Yarmolenko, who to me was miles being the man of the match. He crossed the ball diagonally, finding Anderson, who cushioned the ball down with his head, and Creswell just lashed it into the net. I mean, yeah, it came off, it deflected off Aki and whatever, but it was going in. It's not as if it was going miles off and then it was deflected into the goal. It was going in anyway, and it was a really, really well-deserved equaliser for West Ham. And for me, I think on the whole, West Ham, should have been winning the game. So I've just seen someone put a note up saying it felt like a loss. It kind of did, because I think we played really well. Wiltshire came on straight after the goal for Mark Noble. I can see why Pellegrini made the decision to bring Wiltshire on when we were losing. I think maybe he should have changed his mind. When we came back equal, maybe he should have just waited for Wiltshire to come, waited a bit longer, because Noble, as much as I've slagged him off in the past, was quite a driving force in midfield alongside Rice, but we needed a bit more creativity, so I can understand that. But we got that goal, and maybe Pellegrini should have just said to Wiltshire, hang on a few minutes, let's see how the game pans out. But anyway, Yarmolenko today looked mustard to me. He not only passed the ball really well. Every time he passed the ball, I like to see the stats afterwards. Every time he passed the ball, it got to the player he wanted it to get to. I think there was maybe one chance, one opportunity Yarmolenko went to cross it late in the game, and it missed where it was meant to arrive to. But on the whole, brilliant passer of the ball, great control for such a big man, creates chances, scores goals, and also does his fair share of defending. The number of times he was back in our half helping Fredericks out, just absolutely superb. And I hope he gets better and better and stronger, because he's the Yarmolenko we were hoping for last season before he had his awful injury. Anyway, on 87 minutes, Wilson claimed that Ogbonna gave him one of those in the face. If it was me, I would have done it definitely. But all eyes, sorry, no, I shouldn't say that. But all eyes were on Creswell and King in the penalty area, where the shirt pulling was going on 10 to the dozen. Bournemouth claimed the penalty. No way should it have been a penalty, because it was King pulling Creswell more than the other way. And then on 89 minutes, a dirty challenge by Lerma, who most other referees could have easily have given a red card for. He stamped on Allaire, which was not nice to see. Anyway, the game fizzled out. I think we should have won it, but I said a moment ago I was going to do a comparison between Bournemouth and West Ham, and I think West Ham have proved to have been much more improved than Bournemouth have. Don't get me wrong, Bournemouth are impressive with what they do in the way they do it, but there was West Ham this season look far more composed, far more determined, far more resilient than I've seen them. This sort of game last season, or maybe the season before, West Ham would have lost. If we'd have gone 2-1 down, our heads would have gone down, and we would have lost the game. Whereas this season, Pellegrini has said to the players, play your game. It doesn't matter what's going on. Play your game, you'll get your end result. And that's what's happened. That second goal for us was very well deserved. In the way we kept pressing, and we were pressing from the front, and credit where credit's due to Allaire, that guy, he's the striker we've been missing for quite a few seasons. All right, he hasn't scored again, but his hold-up play, bringing other players into the game. And we said this when we were looking in the summer, we were thinking about signing him, and we did a couple of shows on Irons United about Allaire's strengths, and one of his main strengths was how he comes deep, picks the ball up, gets the midfielders into play, lays it off to them, flicks, passes, etc. And he's been proving that throughout the whole season, and he'll get his just desserts. He'll get his goals, his own tally of goals this season. But the way he's playing was kind of that missing link that we haven't had for quite a few seasons, because he's a great striker, a foil to work from. And I bet the midfielders must love having a striker like him up front. And I think, on the whole, with players like Allaire, Yarmolenko being back, it's really looking well for West Ham. Okay, we drew again today, and it would have been nice to have gotten a win. But like I said, in previous seasons, we would have lost that game. So that's it, people. Short and sweet. I could go on, but there's nothing more I need to say. I think we played well. I think we were resilient. I think that the draw was hard fought. It would have been lovely to have had a win. I think on the whole we should have won. But Bournemouth are Bournemouth. They're quite a physical team. But I think we kind of matched them for that today. We didn't let them bully us out of our own game. So it was good all round. And now I have to find a way of switching off the the video without you seeing my big thumb or finger going forward. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Get your comments in. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you thought of the game. Who was your man of the match, etc., etc. And come on, you Irons, and on to the next game.